I think I'm getting a little bit overly sensitive on some topics. Specifically, it's like I've been drinking and it's like 9:30 in the morning. Specifically, I've been getting really kind of touchy over this whole influencer marketing phenomenon. And it's not really a phenomenon. It's a thing it's a term that has become really popular in the last few years, and then it's been beaten down because of disasters like that fire festival, which I'll talk more about in a moment. But I realize that I am somewhat more sensitive to it than I probably should be. I just recorded a podcast. We dropped it this week on the art of income. It's just dropped. And as I was editing it, I realized I spent a fair bit of time right at the top of it ranting about influencer marketing, how it relates to our income, how it relates to making money online. Now, it has been top of my mind to a certain extent because at Social Media Camp, which just ended about a week ago in Victoria, a lot of the speakers shared stories and talked about the kind of the devolution of the online influencer, how influencer marketing and brands that spend money with influencers are increasingly looking at that under a microscope because so many influencers have cheated. The bottom line is, I know the reason that I'm upset in that it bothers me is for so many years, I made my living as an influencer marketer. Doing television. That was really what we did. Is we had influence. We had a platform, and we had influence. We went and we spoke to brands. We spoke to companies. We asked them to trust us to get their message out and to give us money. And we built our career on that. And I was kind of proud of that. The fact that I ran a business for the better part of 2 decades, employing dozens of people, based on the credibility and the influence that we had on the air. It was kind of a badge of honor to a certain extent. Obviously it means a lot to me by how upset I am about these bozos who sit there and buy Instagram followers, pay for engagement, and then go out and get brands to give them money to promote themselves, to promote their product on these faux channels with these influencers who have paid influence but don't their real number of followers are just a fraction of who is really following them. And I guess if you've earned a certain kind of place in the influencer firmament, that maybe you're a little more sensitive, as I apparently am, by the fact that I'm getting worked up now thinking about it. Have you checked out the stories about the fire festival which for many of us was the moment that we recognized the impact that influencers have on their community, but also the potential disaster that it represented for brands. So there's 2 places that it can kind of all fall apart, as far as I'm concerned. There's probably more. But the 2 places it can fall apart is just straight up wasted money, where an influencer has purchased their followers, and they do this. They're still doing this. They purchase followers, they purchase engagement, and so the brands are spending money poorly because they aren't actually getting the influence that they're paying for. And then the second thing is when the influencers are legit, where they actually have a great degree of influence over their community, but they don't do their due diligence on the products that they represent. And that was the case with the Fire Festival. So it's 2 sides of the coin, right? You've got the one side of the coin where there's so many people taking big time advantage of the entire situation. And then you've got the other side of the coin where a different group of influencers who have legitimately built a following, whether or not we agree with them or not, they have a legitimate following, but they aren't doing their due diligence to make sure they're serving their community properly. And it just reeks of immaturity across the board, and it drives me a little bit crazy. So they were talking about that a lot this week at Social Media Camp, or last week at Social Media Camp, and I've been doubling down a lot and spending a lot more time in Instagram and looking at different followers on Instagram. Now, my Instagram account, to be perfectly honest, is rather pathetic. We're a couple of thousand subscribers or followers. 3,000 or 4,000 followers. And I'm just kind of getting my head around the proper way to communicate on Instagram. I know I'm very late to the party if I'm just starting to really concentrate on Instagram right now. But I'm finding Instagram increasingly has, even though it's owned by Facebook, I'm just increasingly disenchanted with Facebook. So I'm liking how Instagram enables a little bit more peer-to-peer communication, just a little more intimacy in our conversations. So I'm doing more of it. If you're not following me on Instagram, I'll put the links in, and please follow me on Instagram and help me understand it better. But to get back to the rant that I'm on today, it's a bit of a rant. As I looked at other Instagrammers, they suggest different people to me all the time, and for some reason, it's suggesting, I know exactly why. It's suggesting a lot of older people, especially older women, to me to follow on Instagram. The reason is I've been looking for other gray zone or gray wave influencers. I've been looking for people who have good, solid Instagram followings who are north of the age of 50. And there is a lot of women over the age of 50 who are just kind of almost fashion model-y type stuff, taking lots and lots of pictures of themselves that are attractive beauty shots. And they're getting thousands and tens of thousands and even hundreds of thousands of followers. And I'm looking at their accounts, and I've got to admit, other than the fact that they're a little bit of eye candy, they're eye candy for people of my vintage. They aren't offering a lot of value. They aren't offering a lot of humor. They aren't offering a lot of insight. They're just offering pretty pictures that they're sharing with the odd motivational thing talking about how wonderful things are. So I'm a little bit bemused right now as I'm trying to figure out that entire part of the process. And I'm wondering, as I look at it, how many of those accounts are totally legit. When I see an Instagrammer who has really lots of nice pictures of themselves in nice locations with lots of bokeh, lots of blurred out backgrounds and maybe some nice filters on them, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of conversation going on with their community. They aren't talking about any real topics. They're just pretty pictures of me. So I'm still kind of trying to work my way through it. What are your thoughts? Are you an Instagrammer? Have you reached the point where you're following on Instagram? And when you look at Instagrammers, are you looking at the number of followers that the people have, and does it make sense to you? Does that engagement make sense to you? I mean, we'll probably have more conversations on this because in certain countries, including Canada where I am now, apparently Instagram is going to experiment with pulling the like reports. So when you go and visit one of our posts, you won't see how many people have liked it. I don't know if I like that or not. We do like that kind of herd mentality of social proof, of knowing that other people have liked something before us. But Instagram obviously recognizes this as an issue, and it's something that they're going to be starting to take a look at. So that's it. My rant for today is really about these influencers who really have no influence, but just purchase the influence and how much it's just pissing me off. And it's a little bit about, as well, help me out in this journey. Talk to me about what you know about Instagram and what you're looking for and what you're not looking for on it. And follow us on Instagram. That would be a good thing to do as well. That would be a help for me as we build this gray zone, gray matters thing out. So that's it. Loving your comments. Thanks so much for the heartfelt comments from last week's vlog. That was a difficult one to publish, and I'm always a little sensitive as we do take on a topic as serious as we took on last week. But as usual, the community just was so supportive, and you make me look good. The earnest nature of the comments and the support, it's heartwarming, and so thank you for that. With that, looking forward to your comments. Have fun storming the castle.